I'd like now to introduce to you a man who is very close to Don, Paul Hogan. As we introduce Paul to the podium, which is Latin for you watching out there, as we introduce Paul to the podium, I know that Don will clap, this man whom he admires so much, and I know you will love to see him. Here is Paul.
Evening, viewers. You're probably wondering why I called this meeting. Let's first get this little organisation here in its proper perspective. What we are doing here, first and foremost, the main reason we're here is that the management at Channel 9 found these half a dozen dinner suits out in the wardrobe and didn't want to waste them. This one's got stains all over it. It must be Ernie's, is it, Bert? Now, we are gathered here, viewers, ladies and gentlemen, to heap praise on Don Lane. And believe you me, I'll give him heaps. This man, this wonderful Don Lane, who was rapidly becoming a legend in his own mind. Many of Don's friends are gathered here. Unfortunately, we're not all here in the flesh, but quite a few of them will be appearing on film. There are various reasons for them not being here, but mainly because they couldn't stand to be in the same room with Don. But no, we are here to talk about Don Lane, and let us go back into the past, 50-odd years ago when Don was born. Well, 48, 49, you know. We're friends, only gagging. And Don's mother, as Bert has already told you, a fine Jewish lady, looked down at baby Don and she said, "Oy vey," which is, I believe, is Jewish for stone the crows. She looked down at little baby Don in the cot with his legs dangling out over the end. And she looked up to heaven. You know, Don, where the Catholics go? And she said to God up there, looking down at the little baby, "Haven't the Jews been persecuted enough?" But, you know how mothers are. With mother's love, she took him home anyway, put a paper bag over his head, put him in the boot of the taxi. Now, Don's mum, name was Dolly. She was married to a fellow named Bob, and... That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, you
didn't lie to me, Bert.
No. I'm with you.
And they were in show business, so naturally, you know, they moved all over the countryside, but Don kept finding them anyway. And finally they relented, and they said, well, let's put him in show business, so they sold him to a circus. And so began a career which sometimes rose to the heights of mediocrity, which took Don all over the country, finally ending up with him starring in a play off Broadway. Well, it wasn't really a play, it was a pantomime, and it was about 3,000 miles off Broadway, in Honolulu, wasn't it? Yeah. Mother Goose,
Yes.
star and role. He was a star, somewhere between mediocre and grotesque, but nonetheless a star. That was his start. Who would think that today the man would come as far as you've come? Look at him now, 10 years older for a start. Still doesn't do Humphrey Bogart too good. But now, the man respected and loved by his fellow workers, a man who was a close personal friend of such show business greats as Sammy Davis Jr., Izzy Dye. And what a wonderful country this is when a lanky New York Jew can come here and team up with a tubby Melbourne Catholic and form a duo that is more personable, more dynamic, more entertaining than even Mike and Mel Leyland. A duo that have been compared to the legendary Ted and Tom the Lagarde twins. Well, that's going a bit far. I doubt if these two could crack a whip between them, but it is great. It's a pat on the back to this country to give opportunities to people who are handicapped like we have. There's nothing more for me to say now except to say the words that the whole of Australia is waiting for Roger Clemson to say. We couldn't afford him. He wanted $25 and the management said you weren't worth it, Don. Don Lane. your life.
Paul Hogan.